Good evening and welcome to Story Hour. I'm tonight's host, Laura Blackwell. My co-host, the marvelous Daniel Marcus, started Story Hour over 3 years ago at the beginning of a shelter-in-place order, and we've been enjoying ourselves so much. We've been coming back every Wednesday with another two writers, and it's been going great. In fact, one of our favorite writers is back again for, I think, the third time today, Jordan Kurella. And Eliane Boey is our 200th writer to appear on Story Hour. So tonight's pretty exciting. We were joking about how there will be prizes. You all get to hear great stories. That is your prize. You will enjoy it. I know you will. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You'd be doing whatever people who don't like stories do. I don't know who those people are. Story Hour is also made possible with help from a SIFWA Givers Grant. The Givers Fund from SIFWA helps us keep the streams rolling and the lights on, and we appreciate it very much, SIFWA. Thank you. Welcome back to those of you who are returning, and welcome to those of you joining us for the first time. As always, we have two favorite writers reading for their favorite nonprofits, and as I already mentioned, our readers tonight are Jordan Kurella and Eliane Boey. If you can, please consider donating to tonight's featured nonprofits, the Black, Queer, and Intersectional Collective and United Nations Relief and Works Agency. Story Hour also has a special note. I didn't check the news right before we came in. I know negotiations were on today, but SAG-AFTRA was still striking last I heard. And if they are still striking, please remember that they started striking in solidarity with the WGA, the Writers Guild, which I'm not a member of, but I'm a big fan of writers getting paid fairly for their work. So I also believe in other writers or other artists getting paid for their work, which includes screen actors, for instance. So the Entertainment Community Fund, formerly the Actors Fund, was helpful to the WGA writers when they were striking, and it's also helping out a lot of the actors while they're striking. And if you want to take a look at that and consider that, that's at entertainmentcommunity.org. And our writers have also brought in a few of their favorite nonprofits. Eliane Boey is reading for the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. The UNRWA seeks to help Palestinian refugees all across the Near East. Gifts to the UNRWA through this link, which is kind of long, so I'll have to post it instead of just saying it, can select to have a gift go to the UN's efforts to help Palestinians in the Jenin refugee camp affected by the earthquake in Syria, living in one of 12 refugee camps in Lebanon, or the estimated 1.7 million Palestinian refugees in Gaza. So you can learn more at unrwa.org, and I'll post that longer link as well. Jordan Kurella is reading for the Black, Queer, and Intersectional Collective. Ooh, I didn't ask, but I really hope they call themselves Be Quick, because that is too cool not to just go ahead and say. Be Quick is a grassroots community organization in Central Ohio that works toward the liberation of Black, queer, trans, and intersex people from all walks of life through direct action, community organizing, education on shared issues, and creating spaces to uplift their voices. Its three working groups, money-making, consciousness raising, and community building, work toward the goals of the organization's systematic demands for societal change. They're actually called systematic demands. Their website is really interesting, very powerful stuff. Be Quick believes in the power of communities working together to define their needs and make positive change. You can learn more at bqic.net. If you are here on Zoom, feel free to chime in on the text chat. If you are joining us on Facebook, thank you. We are not monitoring that text chat and cannot answer your questions right away. However, I will answer them tomorrow. Or you might just be really happy to, not really be interfered with and just watch your stories. And that's okay too. That is a choice that I respect. And our first reader tonight is Eliane Boey. Eliane Boey our 200th Story Hour reader, is a Chinese Singaporean writer and SIFWA member with short stories in Clark's World, The Pen Review, and Weird Horror, among others. Her first book, Other Minds, was published by Dark Matter Inc. in September 2023, which is also publishing her debut novel, I'm going to say this like it's Spanish. I don't know if that's correct, so I'll need you to correct me.
Contango.
Club Contango, or is it
Yes.
Contango? Okay. Club Contango in November
I've been pronouncing
2024.
it.
In real life, Eliane works with ships and ports, regretfully terrestrial. You can find her on Instagram or TikTok as author.eliane, or on Twitter, and I believe on Blue Sky as well, at Eliane Boey. Eliane, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Today
I'll be... Do I just start?
Just, if you have any content warnings you want us to know about, that's great. Otherwise, we'd love to have the title and hear you read us a story. All
right. I guess content warning is that these are both second person POV stories. I just realized that last night. So if you hate those stories, you should log off now and get back on when Jordan's reading. Okay, the first story is Hunger, which was originally published in Weird Horror. So I'll just start. Okay. It's the scents that rouse you, the gamey fat of the roast duck and the warm syrup of the dragon fruit and mandarins under the red lamps. You shrink at the acrid musk of incense from the habits of a life that doesn't feel like it was ever yours. But the smoke has always been a connection between those who extend the invitation and those who wait to be let in. A language you never knew you understood. The smoke fingers the air and finds you. The gates between the worlds are open. You don't recognize this part of Chinatown. Nothing is allowed to age in Singapore, but it has only been a year. In your grandfather's time, Sago Lane was called Dead Man's Lane by the Hokkien, after the houses of death that lined the street, where the poorest came to hide their wasted flesh in lean cubicles on the upper floors and await the end. Death upstairs and rights downstairs, all across the road from the affluent homes and clan houses. As you walk, pairs of hollowed eyes look up at you from where they squat along the 5-foot way, gorging on platters of steamed cakes, tea, and whole fruit. It isn't their first time returning. Do they eat because it fills them or because they hunger? Now you know it isn't the street that has changed. The ones that came before you beckon you to join them, but you bow hurriedly and move on. It's only been a year since you crossed the gates, since you belonged with the dead. Where Ansiang Hill curves into Club Street, the burn barrel smolders with the curling ash of the yellow prayer paper that the living set alight on the 7th month to signify the opening of the gates. The shop houses on this part of the street are painted in bright colors for their new lives as cocktail bars and restaurants. The street is as it was since you were part of the crowd that filled it, except the lively invitations of the young people draped on the refurbished terraces, calling out to friends on the street, are not meant for you. You wished you stayed behind when the gates opened, except it wasn't the incense that called and the scents, but the hunger. The teak double doors of the clan house at the top of the hill are open, although a carved screen has been erected between the threshold and the interior. It's a Cantonese Traders Association founded before the nation knew its name, uneasy neighbors, with the bars and restaurants that now dwell in the converted shop houses painted in neon colors. The 5-foot way in front of the house is veiled in its own blend of incense and the oil of rosewood furniture warmed under wrinkled palms. You smell damp tea leaves, newsprint ink, and the sweet deception of cloves in Kretek cigarettes. There is something else underneath the heady smoke which draws you. It's the nutty, rich fat of a roast duck, which sits on a table just before the threshold. Lean forward, and the scent awakens your hunger. And that's when you see them staring. They're sat at round tables on the road that's closed to traffic this time of night. The tables are covered with pink plastic and littered with melon seeds, peanut shells, and half-empty cups of tea. Behind the tables, a low stage of its size of raw wood on bare steel bars still visible. You take a step back, and the ones who squat to eat by the side of the road laugh at your fear. They remind you that all of this is for you. At the annual opening of the gates, when the lights come on and the singing begins, they rise and drag leaden feet towards the chairs nearest the stage. With the blinding light, the loud music, and the garish mansions, cars, stacks of hell notes and dolls and bright-colored paper only remind you of what they are not and the things you lost. Nothing prepared you for finding yourself on the other side of the gates, waiting between two worlds to be let in, but only on the month of the Hungry Ghost Festival. Nose trained for the first tendrils of smoke and sweet fat. You never depended on anyone the way you do now when you are among the living. You certainly never feared their presence. On the first opening of the gates, you thought of how you miss the outside and the streets that do not recognize you, how you miss the food. Oh, the food is the reward for the year's wait. That was before you sat at the first table you came upon, only to find you could not eat because of the way they looked at you, daring themselves to feel as they believe, knowing that the invitations came only from tradition, of fear at the threads between the worlds broken and their protection lost at it, with it, if they stopped. You saw the fear and disbelief that you once had, and so you turned away from the table of food, your belly empty. How could you eat of their spread when you still see yourself as they do? Perhaps next year you'll try to stay behind, but you already know that next year the hunger will command. The ones who came before you say that offerings used to be plentiful throughout the year. Now the tables are open and incense burned on the 7th month. That is why, by the opening of the gates, all who waited, are famished. It's another night, and you're back. You're still hungry. You passed laden tables on the way to Club Street, but you ignored them because it has to be the roast duck in front of the clan house. Hunger is a toothed worm that bores a hole in you each night that you do not eat. It masticates the parts of you that still feel. Tonight, you walked through the crowds on North Bridge Road, although you hated how you folded yourself away from their paths and avoided their glances. You hated how all the while you wondered if they even saw or felt you at all, and that you still don't know if they did. You're at the top of Ansiang Hill, and the table is full again as it was the night before. This time, none of them are looking. They're sat at the tables except at the front row, which you already know is intended for you. Their eyes are on the stage, as the lights train their focus on a woman in early middle age, bold sequins and vinyl boots. She taps the microphone near her ear. There's still time for you to eat. Step towards the table. The screech of the microphone through the loudspeaker tears your face open. When you think about how it was when you were one of them, you're certain that you never felt this hungry, that hunger did not drive you as it does now. It never haunted you and drove you to walk the length of North and South Bridge Road where all you saw were eyes. The offering of food and incense is a poor trade, annual gifts to keep your worlds apart until the next opening. Yet even if the gates opening, their unseen stairs are a wall that you cannot pass. There's a clinking sound behind you, and before you can turn, a grey cat springs onto the table. Its claws rend lines in the yellow cloth. The cat has upset the platter of steamed cakes in landing, but it pays it no mind. It lunges for the duck, and your mouth waters as though you would taste it too. But the cat hisses and arches its back, and the men at the nearest table turn to look. From where you stand in the quiet shadow, you can see that the skin on the roast duck has swelled in the slow cooling damp of its heat and is no longer crisp. But the lush scent of the fat between skin and meat drifts on the slight breeze and touches the inner curl of your nostril. You see yourself at the table, ignoring the rice, the cold tea, the boiled sweets that have been left out since the afternoon, their fluorescent insides seeping through the wrappers and solidified in the swirl on the red plate. Only the meat will satisfy the year's hunger. You ate today. You smelled the incense and felt the hunger, not in your stomach, but deep in the hollow of your chest. The table was set in front of a red altar in the back lane, where 2 storied rows of shop houses on Emerald Hill meet in the shade of bougainvillea groaning with magenta flowers. It's a secluded path a minute away from the glare of Somerset and Orchard Road. There were 2 styrofoam boxes of boiled chicken and greasy rice, and a pile of yellow steamed cakes on the table. Someone has stuck unburnt joss sticks in the cakes in the center, and they stood like skeletons of forgotten birthdays. The sticks in the small bronze tripod urn had burnt stubs held up by their own ash. You crouched low and saw the cold, pimpled skin of the chicken, and underneath, gelatine congealed on flesh. But hunger is a bony hand tapping a claw in your chest. You must answer. And at least here, you are alone. You dug into the dry cakes in the glow of pink light from the plastic lamp in the shape of a lotus. It's the meat you want, or the cakes you could swallow, unseen in the shadow of the bougainvillea. They tasted of grudging reunions, the arch of your mother's brow, and missed dinners at the office. It was when you finished and you looked up that you saw them through the half-open kitchen door, a woman who appeared not far from the gates herself, on a sofa beside the dull and ageless face of one no longer young, because nothing interests them anymore. A Mandarin language variety show on a handsome flat-screen TV is the only light in their eyes. You tell yourself you do not know them, although you recognize everything in the large, comfortable, cold living room. Still the hunger taps a bony finger on your ribs. On the closed-off road outside the clan house, the Girth High performance is at its giddy peak. Bright costumes, light like sharpened knives, and earnest Hokkien songs reverberating through speakers and which compete with the noise streaming from the bars. As it is every night, the front row of seats is empty and the table is full yet again. The ones who came before are wetting parched lips on the fat of the roast. They see you and do not beckon this time, but leave space at the table. But you can no more stand their welcome than the cool invitation of those who laid the spread. And that's enough to make you accept. Hunger no longer knocks on your bones now, it crushes them. There's something else tugging at the loose seams of your mind, and it's a full minute before you realize that you know the song. It's all there, the rhythmic click of the cha-cha beat and the song about the small pleasures of a hard life. That was the soundtrack of your childhood, of drowsy afternoons at Papa's flat after school, watching cartoons on her boxy Toshiba TV, while she prepared double-boiled soup and steamed fish for dinner, a roast duck leg from the coffee shop if it was a birthday. Now you don't wonder that the songs performed at Girth High have not changed in decades, nor that everything behind the gates both repels you and intensifies your hunger. Laughing, you widen your jaw. You don't see the ones that came before. You don't see the ones who lay the feast because it was their duty, now clapping their hands, whistling, and enjoying the performance. Oops, sorry, skipped the wrong page. Okay. They stage every 7th month for you. Your tongue extends from between moist teeth. It touches the roast duck, and you lick and bite into the skin. The skin is still crisp. You feel the resistance and the snap. Then you let the jus and the oil pour down your chin. Now the hunger is gone. That's the end of that story. Thank you. Yes, finally the duck. Well, just I suppose an end note for anyone who needed any background. That was a story about the 7th month of the Lunar Festival. The next story I'm reading is Ghost Crab, which was originally published in the Penny. Thank you. The only thing you are certain of about me is that I do not exist. I watch you pass us, the ghost crabs of Changi Beach, eyes wide but unseen. Our beach is older than the nation. It was here that 80 years ago, the invaders emptied truckloads of men, blindfolded and bound, shot. The tender white sand cannot forget the damp warmth of blood and bones, and some nights it reminds us in the thin howl of the wind. That is why, although you love the beach, you know not to overstay into the night. Night on Changi Beach belongs only to the ghost crabs. If the sand is damp, but the sulking clouds lean on our sagging sky and sigh a cool breeze on your cheek, you will wrap your arms around yourself in delight at the coming of crisp monsoon days. But more often, the sun is set deep in the sky and bullies the clouds away, so you roof your eyes. I know all the ways you cope with being on our beach. You have no shell, and you don't belong here. I am translucent, and that's one reason why you see through me. You arrive in the late mornings with your hatchbacks and motorcycles, with your camp chairs and your boxes of food to occupy our beach. Like the sand which welcomes the froth and crashing of the waves to drown its memories of murder, the ghost crabs have learned to shunt ourselves in the gaps in the sand, behind the rocks where you do not care to picnic. I stay on the move because moving, you see me even less. When I tire of moving, I fold myself away in my shell, and then you don't see me at all. Ghost crabs are small, box-shaped, scuttling creatures with quick, thin pincers that come to rest in natural downward slant. Because combing for weak prey or sifting the sand for fair cast-offs is our lot. Our shells are tinted bluish-gray, like polished bone in the sun. We make dwellings in the sand, but you complain that it makes a mess of your beach. You forget that the only thing that doesn't belong here is you. Ghost crabs are not unique to Singapore. What is unique is that in Singapore, no one knows they are here. A while ago, there was a news story about a crab. A woman claimed to have been attacked by a ghost crab while walking on the beach at night. You watched the video and you sympathized with her fear. It came from nowhere, she said. It wasn't supposed to be here. She did not see it until it reached for her. Thin, sharp, grasping pincers and its hard shell reeking of the sea and matted with dirt and flotsam. She did not stay to hear its sounds, but ran away. Ghost crabs live off dead flesh, but we were once hunters. Twitching muscle and the slow death of prey are no deterrents to the enjoyment of our meal. Stay away from the beach at night. The night is our time. By late afternoon, your plastic food containers and bottles of soda are empty. You'd stay all night and every day on our beach if you could, you say, but home calls and the beach pushes you away. With reluctance and not a little relief, you leave. What are your houses like? Or your cozy flats? Have you ever scavenged as we do? When the dreamers who chase the golden hour have long gone, and soon too the stragglers who light up and open bottles on the sand that will cut our feet the next morning, it is almost possible to forget that the sun ever touched our beach. Watch now as the sand moves, and shadows separate and seep from behind rocks. Tired bodies that spent the day huddled frozen in the defense of stillness, or which did not cease to move so as to deny you the glimpse of a pinched blue face, step out into the sheath of the dark beach. Under the bent trunks of the coconut palms, we stretch. Thin, spindly legs of sharp tips extending until joints merge and single elbows form on each side of our bodies. Eye stalks shrinking into our heads, on faces young and old that slowly protrude. Our faces are pickled by the sun and the salted air. A few of us, elders mostly, have horns on our heads which now recede into tangled hair. Shells molt. Some shed their hard exteriors for the softer drapings of comfort. A shirt, perhaps, which becomes them and reminds them of better times, but draws your attention in the day. Some shed their shells because they can in the darkness, and in the darkness the beach is ours. Watch as we stand, on 2 feet, with arms that naturally fall downwards, but which now end in hands. When our transformation is complete, we find friends, brothers, aunts again. Natural families are rare. The beach is where most of us find each other. If you linger on the beach in the sliver of time where night becomes morning and the ships anchored at the port's limits are quiet, you may not see us. The ghost crabs that once lived in the open have learned to fear you. We fear your voices when we are silent in the day. We fear your power to remove the things you prefer not to see. But tonight, the beach is abandoned to the whispering fronds of coconut palms and the flare from the power station across the channel, which lights our quiet suppers together. The beach belongs to all of us, but not to those who do not exist. It's the end of that. And I suppose if it was not clearly brought out in the story, which would be my fault, that was a story about homelessness in Singapore on the beach, which is an issue that is often ignored. Thank you very much.
I love the way it went from talking about actual crabs to people who are being treated like nuisance animals. That was
Thank you.
a really excellent transition. And if you can watch people as they're listening, you can see the moment when it dawns on them. So yes,
Thank you very much.
definitely worked. It is our way here at Story Hour to take a moment between the two readers to just take a pause, take a breath, integrate those first stories into ourselves, and ready ourselves to take in some more. Everyone, that was Eliane Boey. Our first time at Story Hour, and I'm so grateful that you joined us, Eliane. Thank you. Our next reader tonight is a longtime favorite. This is Jordan Kurella. Jordan Kurella is a trans and disabled author who has lived all over the world, including Moscow and Manhattan. In his past lives, he was a photographer, radio DJ, and social worker. His work has been nominated for the Nebula Award, longlisted for the British Science Fantasy Award, and taught at Iowa State University. He is the author of the novella I Never Liked You Anyway, which I believe is getting a nice new edition. Maybe you can tell us about that.
Yeah, it's already out, but yeah.
When did it come out? That was fast.
February of last year.
The new edition?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, I have no sense of time. I still have the old edition.
That's big.
And the short story collection, When I Was Lost. Jordan lives in Ohio with his perfect service dog and perfectly serviceable cat. Jordan, welcome back. It has apparently been far too long, but as we've established, I have no sense of time whatsoever.
Time's fake, it's okay. It got abolished. You know,
Welcome to Story Millennium. Thank you.
Okay, so today I have two stories, time willing. Both of them were published this year. The first one is a very short one. It's a flash published in Lightspeed in September of this year. It's called Instructions for the Brokenhearted. It does have trigger warnings, content warnings for abusive relationships, light gore, depending on your definition of gore, and implied self-harm. Though is it self-healing? Depends on the story. So, and the next one is I Think About You Only Louder, which was published in Heartline Spec first issue in February of this year. Get on with Instructions for the Brokenhearted. Lightspeed, September 2023. You will need a heart in a jar, a knife, sharp, a tarp, prep. Lay down tarp on a clean surface. Place pry bar and knife within reach. Place self on tarp. Instructions. Think of your most recent ex. Now, take the knife in your dominant hand, the right one, as this is the right time to do what needs to be done. You often second guess your decisions, like letting your ex move in at all. You two had a good time for a while until they left and blocked your number 3 days after they ripped your heart out. They were standing in the doorway, putting on their mittens and hat, the van already packed, and they had just said, I can't win with you anymore. And you said, you ripped my heart out. You said you hated me. You'd said the same thing dozens of times, but this time they took it like an instruction. This time their fist went right through your ribcage and their mitten fingers wrapped around your heart. They pulled it out, glanced at it a moment, then tossed it, beating and bloody at your toes for the last time. On the floor, the stain remains. In your dreams, they're writing songs about you now, about how fragile your heart was, about how fragile you are, how they held you up how they were the stronger one. They used to call themselves the cornerstone of the relationship. And you always said, but there's only one cornerstone, isn't there? Wouldn't it be better to be pillars? Then there could be two of us. And they said, I know what I said. Now, bring the jar closer to you. It will need to be next to you for what is to come. The heart is still in there, covered in the woolly bits from their mittens when they grabbed it. It's going to itch when you put it back in. It's necessary to understand that some things are poison and that some people are even worse. Your heart has an accurate memory, like this one covered in the evidence of how they last saw you over their shoulder, giving you the side eye as you crouched down to pick up your heart as the winter wind whistled through the hole in your chest. The hole has been closing over time. That hasn't stopped the questions. Why haven't you been coming out? Why do you seem so hollow? Why do you look so placid? You didn't have the heart to answer them, literally or metaphorically. But when your best friend came over and saw your heart in the jar on the kitchen counter, she said you had to get this taken care of ASAP. She brought over sage and salt and did her whole witch thing that did nothing for you except made your nose itch for a week. It was one more unemployed mornings in a year of unemployed mornings that you realized that loneliness begets loneliness. You were staring at your heart slowly beating in its jar, hating it, resenting it, when something your best friend said came back to you. You know, we can keep hiding from our own bad energy, or we can take it in ourselves and own it, manifest it into something else, or we can just die mad, I guess. So now, on the tarp, with the knife in your hand, the right one, cut through the healing skin. This is going to hurt, but it's important to feel something beyond the guilt of false accusations. Cut the skin open in 4 flaps. When you open it, take a moment, feel the summer air, feel it rushing into the hole in your chest. When the moment is over, open the jar. Retrieve the heart and move it gently past the shattered ribs and into your chest, right into the cavity so your ex brutally tore it from. Place it in there with its scars and its memory and its hurt. This heart has a memory of not only how others hurt it, but how you hurt it too, how you tried to protect it, isolate it, how others did the same. And now, when you put it in your chest, how you welcomed it home. A heart given freely is a fragile thing, malleable, changing. Yours grew tougher, grew layers, picked up silt and dirt from the floor, codas and refrains of conversation, the pattern from your ex's shoe as they stomped on it over and over. You still get bits of their favorite songs stuck in your head as you make your way about the apartment, watering plants, cleaning the counters. The songs you just can't shake, but sometimes there are good memories too. Those hurt more. Them standing in the kitchen heating up marinara sauce. Is it supposed to be that red? That's your voice talking. It's from a jar. They're staying back. It's made from the blood of my enemies. The good with the bad. All of it will be put back. You've lived your life soulless for too long. You feel a dull ache. An ache of how you want someone's lips on yours, how you want someone's fingers laced with yours, how you want a brush of someone's hand on your arm or their fingers running through your hair. These are things you want, that you've wanted for so long. It's time. It is time. You're able to breathe again for the first time in years. Your heartbeat strikes you with such yearning for the first time in a year. Loneliness made you into a callus, and that's okay. That's okay. The body knows what it needs. Feel it now as the ribs fold over to protect the heart, to protect you. Wrap the skin around your bones, worry it close with your stitching fingers so that you don't get cold. Now you can hold yourself tight. Take the sobs on your breath, the shuddering of your body shaking with each wrenching memory. You are whole again. This is permanent. You are permanent. You are a best friend, a needed person, someone people miss when they're not around, a sibling, a neighbor, a friendly face. You are more than a mark on the top tarp and a stain on the floor and an imprint in your ex's memory. You are the reason they write breakup songs. You are the reason you are crying right now, but most importantly, you are the reason another person smiles at all. The end. And then I have, if there's time, I have the next one, which is I Think About You Only Louder, from Heartline Spec in February 2023. This one has trigger warnings for, scroll up. I think trigger warnings for grief, dead character, and allusion to sex acts. Think About You Only Louder by Jordan Kurella, issue 1, winter, February 2023. At 4:30, I go to the algae-covered pool and wait for you to come home. The heron arrives. She goes fishing in the pool, but I am too tired to watch. The heron is pretty, like all birds are pretty, terrifying and loud. I eventually fall asleep, only to wake up with a frog settled between my feet. It's staring at me, the frog, its throat bellowing in and out, in and out. I stay this way for hours on the pool chair on your own rainbow towel, trying to rest. Hours, maybe less, maybe more. My staying is not for the frog, not for the heron, not for the pungent smoke that currently lingers on the periphery of the courtyard and will eventually come rushing in. I stay here because of you. You are meant to come home and find me still waiting for you here on this chair. It was once less moldy, less saggy, less sad. I was less sad once before the smoke, before the pool turned green and unswimmable, before I realized you weren't coming to find me. So gather up your towel, tell myself you'll come home later. But my memory says you won't. Doesn't memory lie, though? Doesn't it change and shift like the smoke shifts and changes, moving in and out like sighing? The only certainty I have anymore is that I miss you. Everything pivots around that. Everything. Frog stares, the heron leaves, and the smoke closes in like fatigue. I can't stay here. I can't wait for you anymore. You aren't coming to find me. I walk, dragging the towel, dragging my feet back to our apartment. And when I shut the door, I think about you, only louder. You believed in reincarnation. Hard. I believed in jack shit. There used to be a comfort in nihilism. I once told you that the world went away when I died. Once upon a time, I believed I wasn't responsible for anything, not even you. This all hits too hard in my current reality because now every day I wake up and grab your rainbow towel, go out to the pool, and that is the routine of this current state of me. Starting to think I had the wrong idea. I open the door with your towel over my shoulder. I'm wearing my bathing suit and duct tape flip-flops. It's 4:30 and I'm going to sit on the pool chair and wait for you to come home. There's a heron. She's stalking around the pool chairs, looking under, over. Goddamn, she's excitable, chattering, swallowing, calling. She sees me, flaps her wings excitedly, raises to her full height. She's tall, blue, gorgeous. And the way that birds are gorgeous, like iridescent dinosaurs, somehow not ashen gray from the smoke, but shining. Pretty impressive, this bird. There's a frog under my pool chair, the moldy one, the sagging one, the one where I plan to wait for you. You like to catch frogs, to save them. If you were here, you would catch this frog and take it home to save it from this freaky heron, but you are not here. I am. You are late. Something itches in my memory and says you will always be late, later even. So the three of us are at a detente, the frog, the heron, and me, the towel over my shoulder, my sunglasses askew. I stand up to my full height, hands on hips, and the heron chatters at me. I have nothing to say. I have so little to say. The heron breaks the stalemate first. The frog blinks at me, its throat bellowing in and out. And I know what you would want to do. The heron dives, her beak darts to the pool chair, and I, in the same motion, dive my hands underneath it. It's not until I feel the frog in my hands and hear her wings beat the air that I know, I understand, I won. The frog trapped in both hands, the heron trapped in the chair. She flings the chair about, throwing it into the pool, and I stand while she flies off into the smoke. She disappears. I open my hands to see the frog, and no thank you is given. It simply leaps from my palm and onto the concrete and away. You never arrive to see the spectacle, nor hear about it. Can't linger to tell you about it either, as the smoke closes in early. So I go home, wanting nothing more than to scream at you for leaving me alone. I tear the towel to shreds, and somehow, somewhere, I know you're upset with me for being gone. Once upon a time, you taught yoga out of a studio that we rented, and I ran your books. You had degrees in physical fitness and religion, and I had a degree in economics. We had delusions that this was our ticket to long life and true love, even after everything went to shit with plague and panic and more plague and more panic. We were right for a while. The studio kept keeping on, but I didn't. There were things of yours in the apartment that I hated, honestly. The French press with the gold filter that I never got cleaned right. The fancy, opaque coffee containers with the coffee in them until the beans tasted off because you never drank them as fast as you claimed to. The Let It Be poster on the kitchen wall that you said had to be there for luck. I always thought the poster too macabre, too final for the kitchen, but you always said it was a sign to keep going, like the song says, to just let things be. It's just after 4:30, and I swear I have been here before. This frog in my hands, setting it on the moldy pool chair, a pissed off heron flying into the smoke black sky, but it wasn't like this before. My memory has other versions. The frog sitting on a counter in the apartment, the frog leaping out of my hands, the heron drinking from a clean blue pool. You believed in reincarnation hard. I still believe you're going to come to me. Neither of these things are true because it's just after 4:30 and the sun has given up his fight with the smoke and I'm too exhausted to get up and go back to the apartment, and everything is exhausting these days. So much takes too much energy just to come here, just to stay here, just to think about you, to dream about you. Some things never change. The frog is still settled between my legs and it hasn't moved. It's kind of cute in that frog way, slimy and balloonish. Then it says something and I can't move at all. It says, kiss me. Frog crawls a little closer, then tentative on all four legs. Like it's not quite sure if it offended me, and I'm not offended, just a little shocked that frogs talk and want kisses, and it gets closer between my knees. And that's when I reach down and pick it up, holding it in my hands for the briefest of moments before I kiss its forehead. I kissed the frog like I used to kiss your cat that sat by the spider plant who ate that poor thing into a perpetual state of near death. Quick peck, no lips, just get the damn thing over with. Frog, to my horror, puckers up its lips and crawls closer to the heel of my hand, raising his jaw and closing his eyes. Apparently my facile gesture wasn't enough, so I kiss him on the lips the way your grandmother used to ask me to kiss her in greeting, and I hated it then and I hate it now. Both the frog and your grandmother smell like mildew. You and I had friends that were the same and friends that were different. Our friends that were the same like to come over for dinner parties and offer to feed the cat when we had to travel for whatever or whenever. My friends that were different like to go for karaoke and sing 90s hair metal. My band of choice was extreme because I was indifferent to them as I was to everything. So like everything, I didn't have to try too hard. Your friends that were different like to come over and watch bad movies about cool guys who don't look at explosions. You loved anything where the science was warped so bad it couldn't be science anymore. Makes sense? Nothing is science anymore. Which is why I blame you for all of this. You don't show up, leaving me to haunt this old life. I'm furious at the fact that I'm dead. And I'm more mad at the fact that you don't answer to anything that I do for attention. You don't show up to see me when I'm quiet, didn't show up when I knocked your fancy French press off the counter, didn't show up when I shattered the glass of the Let It Be poster. There's nothing left for me here anymore, not even you. It's weird to kiss a frog in the kitchen with all the doors locked. It feels dirty somehow, like it's something to be done quietly. Like when we used to make out in my old bedroom when we visit my folks. It's a little early for drinking, not quite 5. The moment the kiss ends, I feel drunker than I've ever been, higher than I've ever been. I set the frog down, except there's no frog to set down, just my hands on the counter to catch my own vertigo, because the apartment isn't the apartment I left this morning. The apartment is the apartment as it was before I died, complete with the Beatles on the kitchen wall before the band died, and you two smoking out of your black cat hookah, smiling at me in a half-baked stupor. Sit down. I got something to show you. TV is on with our wedding video. You're walking down the aisle just to languid music so boring it could put Pachelbel to sleep. You gesture at the screen so grandly, I'm astonished you don't fall off the couch. But as I recall, your control of everything was so great you could hold reality in check. So I guess this is reality right now. So I sit down because you finally showed up, and all I've wanted in so long is for you to show up. And here you are passing me the hookah like nothing ever happened. And I pull and I pass it back. And we both sit here like this for a while, staring at the TV, watching the crowd cry and sob. And so the two of us mumble our vows back and forth to each other. Weren't we beautiful? You say, running your hand down your hair. It's just shorter than I remember it being. It's shorter and straighter and grayer. Mine is the same, always curlier and darker than yours, always impossible to tame, even though you were the one who was impossible to tame. You turn to me, put your hand on my cheek. Aren't you beautiful? The whole room is hazy with a white vignette, like in a video game or an old photo, something you try to pass off as artistic because you edit it on your phone. Hazy around the edges with incense and skunkweed and smog, and gosh, your perfume. I kiss the palm of your hand. It tastes like sweat. And you smile. You smile so wide I can see all your teeth, and I do too, and I can feel the air on them for the first time in. And time has been strange since I died, but my last few memories of you don't have you smiling this wide or this real. And you grab my face and you kiss me, and I kiss you back. And we fall on the couch, kissing and tearing off our clothes and wrapping our legs around each other as our first dance comes on the video. George Michael's Freedom 90. We fuck. We fuck right there on the couch, and you are aggressive, like you haven't fucked anyone in so long. And I am aggressive because we have wanted to yell at you, scream at you. I've wanted to slam all the doors in the apartment just once to make you notice me, but you're noticing me now. And how? Right now, all I know is that I love you, and I have always loved you. I miss you, and I have always missed you. There's no aspect of patience and eternity. There's only right now in this moment, and this aspect is climbing and climbing, and you are in it, and I am on it. And together with legs on legs and hips on hips, and your breath is against my cheek, and our breasts are in tandem, and our skin is sweating, and I gasp, and I gasp, and I gasp, and you are here, and we are here. And when you're done, after I'm done, you raise off me and smile. I miss you so much, you say. Gods, I missed you so much, too much. Everyone says. That's when I realize I'm crying. Hey, remember me. Remember this. I love you, and I missed you. You shower me in kisses, my cheek, my neck, my forehead, each dotted with I love you, each one with your breath on my skin, smelling like spearmint. Remember that. Remember that. Know that I love you. I love you. That's when I turn to say something to kiss you back, but the world shimmers and is gone. The pool is blue and smells like chlorine. Iridescent, like my feathers are iridescent. In my memory, I know I come here a lot. Sometimes I see you on a pool chair, on a stitched together rainbow towel, an arm over your face, blocking out the sun. You're in a bathing suit that seems familiar, too familiar. It doesn't quite fit you. I recognize it. It was mine. Once upon a time, you tied the straps at my back as I held my hair up, and you kissed the bone where the neck meets the spine. I got goosebumps where your finger traced circles where your lips left me behind. The bikini was an impulse buy, fancy black with gold trim. It never fit me. It doesn't fit you now. You've lost weight. You're older. You're asleep. Time has passed. The neck extends. My neck extends, feathers ruffling as I watch you in the bright sun reflecting from the pool behind me, the blacktop of the basketball court across the street, the parking lot of the school beyond that, the heat rising from the highway beyond even that. It is so bright, so bright. I chatter as your chest rises and falls, so slow, so even. Your mouth is open, but even the mosquitoes avoid you. We were this way once before, you on a pool chair and me standing far away, wondering at you, your arm rising from across your face to stare back. You were younger then, your hair less silver, your legs less slim, less dimpled with age. I smiled at you as you sat up, walked over. Then as I walk over now on legs too unsteady to carry me. These heron legs are too unsteady to carry me. Just as then you are smiling, towel bunched up under your feet, pool chair sagging beneath your weight. I stand over you, as I did then, but this time I say nothing, beak tucked in my feathers as I am watching you smile as you dream and breathe in and out, in and out. The end.
you, Jordan. Now, you two didn't plan this, right?
No, we didn't plan this.
So you just brought us all the way back around to a ghost with a different hunger.
Mm-hmm.
Happy day after Halloween, man.
These readings are giving me chills.
I'm telling you.
Just the best
Thank you
kind
both
of chills.
so much. Just phenomenal work. And great readings too. Beautiful.
Both of you. Both of you. I hope you'll both come back and read for us again. Jordan, I'll think of some other thing from your catalog to completely screw up remembering next time as well. Yes.
It's always fun. Eliane, I absolutely loved your stories. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, we knew that this would be when our 200th reader was on, and so we wanted it to be special night. We just didn't tell you any ahead of time because, you know, pressure. Who wants that? But I've been rejoicing in the background the whole time. Well, Daniel and I will be back here again next week. Next week, our readers are Carl Dondonell and Effie Seiberg. I do recommend checking storyhour2020.com the day of the reading, just in case there are any changes. And also just to read up on the schedule, see who's coming next, what night you have to absolutely tell everyone you cannot do anything else. And you know, if that doesn't work, you can always just go to the Story Hour page on Facebook, click through the videos and look through all the videos to your heart's content. We're also putting in the links gradually on the calendar page at storyhour2020.com, but we're not completely up to date on that yet. Eliane Boey, Jordan Kurella, thank you so much for these stories tonight. This was really an exquisite evening. Thank you to our founder, my co-host Daniel Marcus, without whom none of us would be here tonight. Good night from Story Hour.